Now, morning. Good morning, Marion.
Good morning.
We're here live at Southwest in the Capitol House, Capitol Factory House, I should say, in the Omni. It's in between 7th and 8th Street. If you're here in Austin, come on by. If you've joined us on the live stream, we're happy to have you.
We sure are.
Are you awake and ready to go?
I'm awake and I'm getting a night out, so this is big for me.
I am proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. So, well, let's get it
Let's
going.
start off with, hey, it's International Women's Day.
It is International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day. So what do you think that means to you?
So for me, it honors all the women that came before me, all my mentors, all my heroes, sheroes, and that's been a lot of people over my journey.
Yeah, the same for me. And for me, a lot of those people aren't in tech.
They're not only are they not in tech, they're outspoken.
Absolutely unspoken. And that's a good point to bring up because that's something I want to talk about
Right.
on the podcast in general, not just today, not just this week, not just on International Women's Day. Yeah, we were actually, as we've been going through things, I've actually got to find the lady's name, which is horrible. But I sent you that LinkedIn.
Right, Mrs. Hudson.
Mrs. Hudson, thank you. I remember her by her campaign that she started, her slip is showing.
Right.
So is that a double entendre?
Yeah, it usually is.
That it definitely means like pull up your slip, honey. You don't need everybody to see that.
And also, slippery tongue. That's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So you want to tell everybody what that whole scene is about? You want me to? Okay. So this was a woman who she was a writer. She was Southern. She moved up to the north to go to college. Ended up in New York City. And then she started noticing during the election in which one was it? I think it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah, no, before that.
No.
2020. But what she started noticing is all of a sudden there were these new, on Twitter, there were these new black personas that showed up as users. Really interesting, very black names, like almost a caricature.
Well, there were stereotypical names. They were names that really didn't fit rhyme or reason as professional names, not family names,
Or normal people names.
normal people names at all.
And so, but what they were talking about were these women, these really trolls, were talking about was they were black women that were against feminism.
Right.
And the way that they spoke about feminism was definitely, and she actually said this is definitely not how she saw feminism. Not how I see it either. That
Me either.
like men see feminism as something bad because it's all eating men.
Well, so to fit into that angry black woman stereotype,
Yeah.
that we are hard to deal with, that we're angry about how society treats us, about the lack of opportunities and our voice, which is not true.
Not at all. And so it caught to her like, okay, these are funky sounding, not real names. They don't even sound like they sound like they're pushing a narrative that's not a black narrative, not something the community would talk
It's
about.
not authentic at all.
Not authentic.
Yeah.
And so she started this campaign saying your slip is showing. And the idea behind your slip was showing was like, we see you. We know you're not real. We don't know who you are, but they were driving so much. They got on Fox News and all the ultra conservative commentaries, all the rest of it. So they saw all of that and were like, we see you. We know you're not real. And it ended up being absolutely an alt-right manipulation of the media, which is something I've talked about in presentations and blogged about forever, that we've got this ultra side on the other, ultra conservative side, not even ultra conservative, this alt-right side that is preaching things that none of us really want, but they're using social media and different tools to get that job done. But why she was in the news is really pretty sad. She died at 45 in a hotel because she couldn't find a job, was very sick, had long COVID, and didn't have money to take care of herself. And so even though she's self-policed, brought this to people's attention, is quoted in lots and lots of articles and academic research, she didn't have enough money to take care of herself, and ultimately died, which is horrific.
very sad. There's very few platforms, so I'm so proud of you, like Tech Aunties, that really allow those unspoken voices to have a platform to talk about issues, not only in tech, but in society.
I think it's so important, right? Because I think she's a great example because she was such a no nonsense way of, of telling everybody this isn't right. Like, just look at the show, right? So, like, she was in such a no nonsense way and help break the veil of misinformation, which is hard to do. But she could do it because she was an insider to a community that was being mocked and used for, in various purposes.
Right, and I think that's so important in this age of AI and generated voices and ChatGPT speaking of, and the kind of the monopolizing of thought, right, and the whole thought process in the concept, that we still continue to really have our authentic voices come forward and have those platforms to be able to speak authentically as to what our experience is, not only in tech, but in the world.
That's right, and it wouldn't work. What she was showing wouldn't work if people didn't have stereotypes and prejudice among ourselves already. If that wasn't the culture that we grew up in, that kind of makes sense, and people can stretch it if they see it being reinforced. So it's really, really important when we talk about communications and marketing and using ChatGPT, to make sure that we have people that have that authentic voice marketing to people in those communities instead of being able to run an algorithm to see what you think they would want to hear, which is gonna it's not even gonna be funny, it's gonna be bad, I think. Don't worry about it.
I agree. So I'm going to still see really hot team. It's not only the conservatives, it's corporations, it's government, the impact that it has on the images we see in media, politics, elections, even how people are writing, even how resumes are screened. So I think her case really does showcase some of the issues ethically that AI should be.
It's just horrible for somebody so bright and somebody that was so powerful, not to have the means to support herself because of whatever reason, right? She should have had every means to do that. It should everybody. And I think that's, what all of us want. All of us want to have a world where we're all communicating at our different levels, but coming together, as one country, one world, all the rest of it. But it just seems like there's forces fighting against. Should we talk about Sam Altman?
Let's go ahead and talk about Sam Altman. So I can get it talked about. Let's talk about it.
Second kid. Okay, so he was, this is bad on me because I saw this last night and I did not get down the rabbit hole to see where this actually came from. But he was quoted on a podcast, at least he might have been on a podcast, to say that 95% of marketing agency work would be gone because of generative AI. Which I'm like, So I got into a bit of a discussion on LinkedIn last night when I should have been resting and getting ready for today about it, because the idea is, and I'm an agency, I own a product marketing agency in full transparency. So the idea behind it is there's all of these back and forth. It takes a long time to get content from most agencies, not mine, because I used to actually work with vendors too, and I understand the pace of it. But the idea is that this churning of developing marketing content can get slowed down because you can just ask a GPT to do that for you in-house. And I'm here to tell you that is not how that's going to go. Because I don't know. What do you think? I'm telling you that's not how that's going to go.
I'm the ethical technologist here.
That's right.
Let's start with who said it, right? He has a vested interest in really promoting OpenAI is going to take over the world. I'm a great believer in diversity of thought. That can be applied to
I agree with you. I don't think how we think. I worry about the new people coming into marketing. They come in with the great, great, bright ideas, and what happens is that long churn of developing messaging and everything, they kind of get put in the corner. They try to bring something up and like, we really don't think that particular play is going to work with the kids today, right? they get shushed. It doesn't matter. It's what the executives want. It's going to get churned and churned. And we're both in tech, so in tech marketing, it ends up with the fluffy marketing that we all hate.
Right.
We don't read it. We don't go about looking at it. It's fluffy marketing. We're like, oh, like we're done. So that's a problem. That's where that churn comes from. We're not letting the younger ones come in with their understanding of their own generation and what's going on and being so connected to that. We're not letting that energy shine through. That's number one. Number two, you have people in the middle. They just have given up. They don't want it. At this point, 95% of us are getting laid off. Why am I going to stick my neck out when I've got a mortgage to pay, kids to get through college off the rest of it? So that goes away. So I think all that a generative AI is going to do for, it replaces 95% of marketing agencies, and it will be the marketing internal too. So I think he was just kind of scrubbing that to make it sound good. But what will happen is we'll just get to that fluffy marketing faster.
But you don't forget about the consumer, like who you're marketing to. Are they going to be cheaper, for lack of a better word, and really consume that message?
It's interesting, right? Especially with marketing. This is why technical people like to call it fluffy marketing. To be good marketing, it has to fill an information need, right? And the information need is I have this problem. Now if you tell the story right, my product, if you use this, you are going to solve the problem for your company. You are the hero. You know what's going on. But basically, the basic part of it, there is a search for information that has to happen. That's why we market. That's why we advertise, to help people fill that need for information. So if you and I like it very much. And I think you use it too.
I use them all.
Yeah,
I actually love the technology. I use them all.
And it's good technology.
Right. And so I guess my kind of playback to you would be, where does the prompt writing come in? Because I can actually go and say, answer this as an experienced marketer, technical marketer, give me a messaging about this particular product. So now that stuff could even potentially be AI generated.
And I think it should be. If I've got something that's changed, I've said this since we first saw this technology really become more available.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm able to do a launch because I can train a GPT on my internal materials and I can get all my launch materials done and then have all of that time left over for reviewing it with the technical experts and the executives who are going to change it because they don't like it, and then I have all the time in the world to get it done. But if I can start from that point and condense the information, but it's also because I have experience. I have very strong technical experience with the products that I am in, with the infrastructure stuff. I understand what it is. I understand the messaging that we have all sat down in a room together and tried to nail down that we want to have. I understand what people are asking for. So yeah, I think that it should be. It would be wonderful. And you see lots of companies like Dell is providing that. Lots of VMware is trying to do private AI. So lots of companies are building the infrastructure to take that GPT internal,
right,
so that you can run off of it. So I think you should use that for sure.
Oh, so I think you should use it. I think the challenge comes in where we as humans, employees, marketers, tech, we have to really start showing the value of our skill set, which is communication. I think there has to be a pivot and a shift from I can do these tactical things to I can think strategically. This is what I'm valued as, not as someone who goes to meetings. I can have ChatGPT read the text and summarize it.
Yeah.
But my innovation, my creativity, I don't believe can be consumed or imitated, often imitated, but never authenticated. Always exaggerated if it's about me.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I don't think you can get that from a generative AI model or any model, even the caustic AI that's coming up in the future.
I agree with you. So I think that's the fine line agencies, and most agencies are already using things to make the work go faster. The work isn't slow because
is my opinion as an agency. The work isn't slow because the agencies have a hard time getting it out and getting it done, especially because they are using these tools now. The work is slow because waiting on the vendors to get back and the clients to get back to you. The work is sometimes slow because the client isn't in the right place in the organization to approve something, and it goes up and it has to come back down and get redone and redone and redone. So if there's a way to shorten the time to get the initial content to a customer, to a client, so you can have the time to go through all the iterations, that's what's going to make it kick and shine. And so let me ask you, so like, what should somebody do now if they're in marketing and they are just kind of going through the motions and you know, doing the different tactical things, like you said? How can they start trading over so they're doing better?
So I think the first thing is to really familiarize yourself, get training in AI. There's a lot of people, particularly at the large corporations you've named, and some of these agencies that have been doing their role for years at a time. Their tenure is so high, and that's why we're seeing the layoffs. And so you have to respond to the market, you have to be relevant, you have to show value, and that's not in your years of the way things used to be. It's actually how can you provide value, do positive impact in today's world and in the future. So I would recommend training, re-examining what your value statement is as an employee, as a person, to be able to compete. And there's tools out there. There's AI tools. When you're looking for work, you can put your resume through JobScan. It'll actually go through and pick out those AI keywords that the AI recruiters and job screeners are doing at these corporations.
So could you get a GPT to write your mission statement for you?
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right, that's good. So we could do that. So yeah, I think that's, you know, that's. Let's go ahead.
People in the audience probably could demonstrate that in less than 1 minute.
Right, with their phone.
Yeah, with their phone.
So I think to sum up what we're talking about here, there was a couple of stories that we could get excited about, and hopefully we'll do this every morning. Have a couple of stories that really excite us, and maybe will excite y'all. The couple of stories we were excited about in the news, and we'll look for some more tonight. But I think this one was good, the generative AI one, because I think there is going to be a lot of talk about this week at South by. I'm not sure about here at the Capitol Factory. We'll have to look around and see what we see. But that's what we wanted to do here at the Capitol Factory, was to have discussions about the hype about AI, because there's so much hype about AI that it's 95% of all agencies. Get out of here. That's just a ridiculous statement to me. So that's number one. But, you know, like, let's examine the hype and see if there's some truth to it.
Right.
And then examine the hype about the technologies to see, like, what's good from it and what can we embrace. So we're going to talk today to someone who's going to talk to us about, she has a body of work around trauma in the workplace. So how does that apply, especially to IT folks, which I think is super relevant. So we'll be recording that. If you're here in Austin, we have tons of seats available. You can come. We're starting at 11 with that. Then we're going to talk about what are some of the things that can go wrong with AI and intended consequences. And I'm trying to think what else we're talking. We're talking to somebody who actually has an AI startup that's doing good work in the healthcare arena.
Right.
On Sunday.
He's actually a finalist in the AI category for the Capitol Factory.
It's for South by Southwest pitch competition.
Yeah, excuse me, Ganesh, but he sure is, and he will be with us this week.
Yep. So that'll be the day after they do their final pitch. So we're wishing them all the luck,
all the best.
Economize. And then we're going to talk about just marketing some more, and you know, maybe we'll have some more spicy takes to talk about from that. And then on the last day, we were going to talk to one of my friends who is a VC, and talk to her about what she really sees from the market and what she's excited about and what she's helping customers with.
And then one day this week, I believe Thursday, we're going to talk to one of my friends.
That's right.
Who is really into career coaching and women in tech. She's been a speaker here in the Austin area and also at the Houston security conferences. So really looking forward to hearing her take on AI and the impact to getting more women into tech and into STEM in general.
I think it's very interesting. All of the security people are super interested in the AI and the generative stuff. And like, we love it, but what?
Well, of course, it can secure firewalls in 50 seconds or less. It can monitor event logs.
Yeah.
It can do threat
Yeah.
modeling, all the things that security people, that's what keeps us in jobs and keeps us up at night.
That's right. There's so much good for it. So like, hopefully we'll talk, but we don't want to be so overwhelmed by the hype that we're completely bad on the new tech. Cause I think I've been thinking more and more about it, that I think that this is more like when the internet came out than anything else. When the World Wide Web came out, there were lots of good applications to use it. I keep thinking of Front Page as a not so great application to use it. And then everybody settled down on it, which is, this is how we do business now. Right.
Okay, so
Uh-oh.
I'm the OG.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
the old gangster of tech. And so to me, it reminds me more of Y2K. There's this panic. What's going to happen to me? The world is ending. My job is going away. Shifts in global economies.
Yeah.
Am I now going to be given tokens? And so there's a lot of hype out there, a lot of doom and gloom. But also this week, we want to focus on positivity.
That's right, because wherever there's this much chaos, there is opportunity.
Absolutely.
And we should, some of us that are there's so many people now that are like the unsung heroes of tech that have so much expertise and knowledge. This is our time to get some of this opportunity. Let's go.
Most definitely.
Anyway, so I think, I don't know how far down we are. I was waiting for.
I don't know, but in the additional time, I would like to give a shout out, since it's International Women's Day, to the women in IEEE, women in AI, and women in security, and women in just in tech in general. I mean, even coming here to register, we stand out. It's better than it was, say, 5-10 years ago, but it's still like far and few in between. I would love to see more women in tech, in STEM,
Come out.
so that let's overwhelm the boys for a change.
I think we need to, because there's enough of us to do it. I want to give Drew different shout outs. I'll give a shout out to all my Tech Field Day ladies. So have that. And all my infrastructure ladies and chip ladies and, the hard practices of IT. But yeah, there's no reason we shouldn't. Except for we probably have a whole nother topic on this. I think we've talked about this before. Just getting ready for this, I have to put on makeup. Really? You know how long? I don't think guys realize, or maybe they do, how long it takes to put on makeup. You can tell I didn't really do my hair. I put it up because I don't like playing with it, because I will play with it. It's like fixing your hair, trying on outfits. Like that for me, like give me some jeans and a t-shirt, ponytail, some lip gloss, I'm good.
So I must admit, I didn't shout out my mom,
Oh.
Evelyn Norman Newsom. She actually helped dress me, approve my outfit. She constantly, very positively though, critiques me and lets me know, hey, you're on the right track or something's off.
Yeah, my mom wasn't up, but she was worried about me last night running around doing things. She usually tells me because she lives with me, right? So my mom, Vivian Elaine Babula, she usually has is telling me what to wear, giving me a piece of jewelry. That's the part I like when I get jewelry to wear. But yeah, the same way. And she actually might be watching if she's awake. She's like you. She's a night owl, which explains a lot from my growing up. She is definitely not a morning person either. But yeah, like we wouldn't be here without our moms. We couldn't be aunties without having moms. So
Sure could.
Well, we can wind it up now. We will be here tomorrow, same place, maybe about the same time. Hopefully we'll get started more like 9:30. But we'll find some hot topics to talk about, but we definitely want some suggestions if y'all have them. So.
And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, where we'll actually be posting our interview with Catherine Manning. She is actually a former DOJ, a Department of Justice expert and advisor to them for victims' rights. She's worked such cases as the Boston Marathon bombing, as well as the Pulse nightclub shooting. And so she will actually be talking to us about having a more empathetic workplace environment, especially in tech. Now we're talking about layoffs, PTSD in tech.
Yeah, is a thing for sure. Maybe that's what keeps so many women away.
I think it could
It
be.
might be. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. And on our LinkedIn page too, Tech Aunties. We still have an Instagram page. I'm not sure if we're going to keep that one up much longer, but we'll see, maybe. But that's about it. That's all we got for you. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.